The PC gave us computing power at home, the internet connected us, and mobile let us do it pretty much anywhere. Now generative AI lets us communicate with technology in our own language using our own senses. But figuring it all out when you're living through it is a totally different story. Welcome to Leading the Shift, a new podcast from Microsoft Azure. I'm your host, Susan Ettlinger. In each episode, leaders will share what they're learning to help you navigate all this change with confidence. Please join us. Listen and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.
You're listening to the Rotoscopers podcast, episode 20, Aladdin. Take off your clothes? Welcome to the Rotoscopers podcast, a podcast for animation addicts. Disney, DreamWorks, Pixar, Don Bluth, and everything in between. I'm one of your hosts, Morgan Stradley, and I'm here with two of my co-hosts, Chelsea Robson. Yay! And Mason Smith.
Howdy!
How is everybody this week? I'm doing fantastic. I'm so excited for this episode! I know! Me too. It's been such a long time since we did an actual episode with nerdy couch discussion, with a review, with a main discussion. Last one was Miyazaki. We've just had lots of interviews and other things, so I'm glad to get back to our, core thing that we're great at. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad too. I mean, I was getting so tired of interviewing all these amazing people in the animation world. I just wanted to bring it back to me, I mean, it's like enough is enough. Please, no more flash photography.
Awesome. Okay, so let's just go straight into the news. So our first bit of news is, guys, you remember Despicable Me? I do remember that. So that was a big hit by Illumination Entertainment in 2010. So big that they decided they're making a sequel, Despicable Me 2. And who'd have thought they are now making a third Despicable Me, but this is not a third Despicable Me movie, but it's a spin-off series. It's based on the Minions.
Could they get any more despicable?
I completely agree with that. I'm okay with them making a sequel, maybe, but this, I don't even know. Well, for me, it's just like they're doing the Penguins of Madagascar. Like, why are they getting their own movie? Is that...
except that these Minions are getting their own film now. Like, it's not like they're not going from the cartoon series to the film. They're going straight to the film. So they have a lot of confidence. But
they do have a lot of confidence.
I'm not buying it.
Well, they were able to steal the Statue of Liberty from Vegas.
From Vegas?
Wasn't that what it was? No, it wasn't the Statue of Liberty. It was the Eiffel Tower from Vegas.
From Vegas. Okay, from Vegas. There we go.
Good point.
Wow.
So my question is, is this going to be a watchable movie? Because they don't talk, they don't do anything. They just kind of make these annoying sounds, and so that's just kind of I don't even know. I can't even stand that little commercial that they have where the one's blowing the little annoying party horn. Yeah. Oh man.
Now they have their own language. Maybe they'll have captions on the whole thing.
It'll be like watching a foreign film.
If you're not sophisticated enough to watch it, Morgan, then don't watch it. Okay,
I submit defeat. Fantastic. So, I don't know. I mean, I guess they are pretty popular by some people. They have their own theme park ride in Florida. They do. So, apparently there's some market for these guys. I don't see it for me, I guess. Maybe I'm too old. There's a lot of things that maybe we're too old for, but we're going to ignore that fact and keep moving. The next story is that Partyosaurus Rex just got released. No. It will be released in front of Finding Nemo 2. No, Finding Nemo 3D. Oh.
3D. Yeah, but they released the preview for it, right? Like the first couple of clips?
Yeah, there was a few clips and then 2 screenshots or whatever.
Yeah, there was a hiccup with that, right? They took it away real quick and then they re-released it.
Yeah, for the YouTube clip, Pixar released it, and then suddenly, all the Pixar animators were tweeting about it, like, hey, check out this short, we're really excitable, and then Pixar took it down from YouTube, and everyone was like, what's going on? Oh, no. So eventually it got put back up. Yeah, totally. So what were you guys' thoughts on this?
Well, I've been able to see a few of the new little shorts. And, at first I was I didn't know what to think of them, like, before I had seen any of them. I was like, well, why are they doing these little short things? But I liked them, so I'm excited to see this one as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's a nice way that they can expand the Toy Story universe, which we love and we've grown to love, and which we've grown up to love so much, without doing overboard, more films or whatever. I think they're okay. They're fun. I loved Hawaiian Vacation because I'm such a Ken fan. The second one, Small Fry, was interesting. It was cute, but...
What? I love Small Fry.
Really? More than the Hawaiian Vacation?
I didn't see Hawaiian Vacation. I'm not a Ken fan.
Oh.
You're a Barbie and Ken fan, Morgan. Don't just say Ken.
I know, I love Barbie and Ken, but I think Ken was the breakout star of Toy Story 3.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah, he really came out, if you know what I mean.
Oh, man.
Anyway, moving on.
No, I mean, but what do you guys think about this one?
I think it's going to be cool.
Yeah, it looks fun. Lighthearted, and it'll definitely be enjoyable in front of the movie. So
yeah, so the premise of Partysaurus Rex is that I guess Rex has joined the bathtub toys, and so he's going to be part of Bonnie's bath time, and so they kind of turn it into this psychedelic disco with bubbles, and there's colors going on, and it seems really pretty awesome from what I can see. So I'm pretty excited for it. So it should be fun.
Yeah, I like how everything is just fun and awesome at Bonnie's house.
Yeah, that's true.
Like in Toy Story 3, Woody was stressing out, and they're like, we just improvise. We have a lot of fun here. We're pretty relaxed. They're obviously living the high life as toys.
That's what happens.
Because they're with Bonnie, who's not due for any life-changing, possibly toy-destroying events for years,
Yeah, totally. That's what happens when your owner's 5. It's just all fantasy funny games.
Yeah.
But she's not Caterpillar Room young, where she slobbers and destroys her toys.
I just fear what happens when she turns into nail polish loving, telephone talking Bonnie, because we saw how that worked out for Jessie, and it was actually made me cry when I was in the theater the first time.
Don't sing the song. Don't sing the song.
I won't. It's horrid. It's an amazing song, but it's it hurts too much.
Awesome. Chris Horn really sold me on to the whole Finding Nemo 3D thing. And it got me really excited about it, so I'm definitely going to see it. So looking forward to seeing this new tune.
Yeah, and speaking of Finding Nemo, our third and last news story, this has kind of been in the rumor mill for a long time. People, it became a big deal and went crazy on Twitter, and then people took it out of context. Anyways, it's kind of been officially announced that Finding Nemo is getting a sequel. So there's not going to be, we don't know much about it other than Andrew Stanton, the original director of Finding Nemo, will be directing. We don't know if it's a sequel or prequel. We just know that it will exist.
So is it Finding Nemo again?
That's the thing. How many times can this kid get lost? Are we finding Marlin? Are we finding Squirt? Are we?
Maybe he's finding Squirt. He's finding the inner Nemo.
Oh, no.
The coming of age of Nemo.
Uh-oh.
It's the bar mitzvah
He's
story.
finding his confidence. Well, maybe it's finding Marlin, and Marlin has gotten so old that he gets lost at the fish supermarket,
Him with Alzheimer's.
But yeah, I'm glad that the original director is going to be in this. And so, yeah, I can confidently say this is probably going to be an awesome movie. It better be,
Yeah.
I didn't like Cars 2.
Oh, no. The movie shall not be named.
You could do so much more with Pixar sequels, right?
Yes.
Incredible.
I think Incredibles should be made before Finding Nemo.
Still no. Incredibles 2 should have been made before Monsters Incorporated. That doesn't even make sense.
Oh. Even before The Incredibles was made, there should have been a sequel.
There should have been Incredibles 2. Oh, boy. Let me just lodge my foot out of my mouth real quick.
So I have a mini nerdy couch discussion question to pose to you all. Are you ready?
All right.
So originally, Pixar, they touted that we are makers of original stories and that we'll never do a sequel unless we have a good story. And they mostly stayed true to that. For the first 10 years, the only exception was Toy Story 2. And so they were true to doing original stories until they were bought out by Disney in 2006. Since then, we've seen quite a bit more sequels released or in development. That is Toy Story 3, Cars 2, now Monsters University, and now we know Finding Nemo 2. So, how do you feel about this? Because the thing about Pixar is that they were kind of this creative entity that was apart from, the corporate world that had they just wanted to make money and they just wanted what was ever successful. And now I'm not going to say it, but a little disappointed in Pixar. I feel there's lots of pressure from Disney to get this going. It's Finding Nemo so popular, you need to do another one. It's going to make $1 billion at the box office, yada, yada, yada. So, I don't know. What do you feel?
I feel like it seems like something that new companies do. Somebody that doesn't have a lot of capital, doesn't have a lot of things going for them. They're just trying to get upstart and get going. If they have one good thing, like, for example, Illumination Entertainment, they had Despicable Me. Okay, let's build on that. Let's do another thing really fast and make more money so that we can make other things. I can understand that. But I don't think that's Pixar's problem. Pixar has lots of stuff going for them.
Yeah.
So I don't understand why they're making that many sequels. I would rather see more original things.
I mean, like we were kind of arguing, does Finding Nemo even need a sequel? Do we need more of this story?
I don't. I was pretty fine with the fact that they found him.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we'll see.
So anyways, that's our news for now. If you have an opinion on Finding Nemo 2 or the Minions sequel or even Partysaurus Rex, just send us an email and we will read it on our next episode. Again, our email is therotoscopers@gmail.com.
Guess what, guys? It's time for another nerdy couch discussion.
Nerdy couch discussion.
Woo, yeah.
I feel
like
these.
we need like a theme song,
let's all
Chelsea.
pile on the couch.
Jump in, buddy.
I get the recliner this time.
Fine.
Oh, shoot.
Well, today I'm posing the question, do celebrity voices really draw that much when it comes to an animated feature? This is where this all came from. If you go back to the Wreck-It Ralph test screening episode, I start mentioning a little bit about how it was really interesting how after we watched the test screening, they had us be a part of this 20 people focus group where we were all like the fans of animation, and they were trying to get information for us on how they could basically move forward with, I guess, marketing and getting our ideas and what we thought of the film. And one of the questions that they asked was, they started asking about the voices. Like, one question was like, were they real? Were they annoying? Did it make a difference knowing who was playing the character? And, they started going off, and some of the people, they're like, yeah, it made no difference to me, the fact that this person was playing this person, or that this person was playing this person. But for some reason, John C. Reilly was actually, it stuck with people, and they're like, oh yeah, that was awesome. I love John C. Reilly. That was awesome. And I'll be honest, I didn't really know who the bulk of John C. Reilly's work. I knew his face. He's got a great face and the character actor. But as far as somebody to go see, it really didn't strike me as being all that much of a draw. But what was even more interesting is that very first commercial that they did, they actually had John C. Reilly open it up and say, hey guys, this is my next film. At first I was just I knew they would do something like that, but it was just interesting because that has never been the reason why I ever went to an animated film. In fact, I remember growing up and never knowing who any of these people were that were playing the voices on these films. Did you guys ever take notice of that?
Not when I was younger, but I think when we were younger, there wasn't as big of a focus on who did the voices. It was, there was maybe one or two main celebrities, but those weren't listed anywhere on the movie posters. They weren't promoted like Matthew Broderick, voice of Simba. It was just, that was something he did. He was playing the character and getting caught up in the character. We weren't getting caught up in him. I feel like in the 90s, that wasn't as big of a deal as it is now, where it's very front foremost. Beyonce is in Epic. Anne Hathaway is in Rio. All these people, it's kind of like a big deal now. And I think that's just kind of the way animation marketing has shifted.
I don't know. I know what you guys mean. I think John C. Reilly is a good choice for Wreck-It Ralph. But it's like a seasoning, your voice acting. I don't know how to articulate this, But I think that a celebrity voice actor should enhance, what should already be a good quality, wholesome animated film.
Yes.
But it should not be the reason why you go to a film. Like, I understand if people are like, well, I'm a Christian Bale fan, so yes, I'm going to see, all the stuff that he did with Chris Nolan, and I'm going to see a bunch of Christian Bale movies. But with animation, it's different because the big blue guy in Aladdin is not Robin Williams. It is the genie played by Robin Williams. But it's really hard when you get such high-profile actors. It's hard to distinguish. It's hard to draw the line between this is a character or this is an actor being featured in an animated film. And when those high-profile actors step into the bounds of of animation, and it's them and not the character, then I have a problem with that. That is my soapbox moment.
Yeah, even growing up, I even remember hearing interviews of different cartoon voice actors that they're just like, they would never do their voices outside of the recording room because it, quote unquote, ruins the illusion. I mean, there are some actors, obviously, who, for example, Nancy Cartwright, who is the voice of Bart. Like, she always does his voice, and it's hilarious and it's great. But she has that personality that just likes to do it, I don't know. It's kind of interesting. Morgan, you remember when we were at D23 Destination D, they had that panel of all the voice actors?
Yes, I do.
You were telling me some stuff. What were you telling me before?
Okay, so at Destination D, it was kind of cool because they would talk about how Walt Disney was very integral in getting these voice actors. And he agreed with Chelsea, Mason, and I that we don't necessarily, he didn't want the people to be distracted by the celebrity voice and take away from the character, think, oh, this is Frank Sinatra versus this is the character I want him to be. And so what he would do is he would, have the voice actors come in and kind of the selection process is he'd just sit there and he'd close his eyes and he'd imagine that person as the character, right?
Yeah. And I really thought that was cool because it was apparently he even passed on some really big names for certain characters, but he wasn't looking for the name. He was looking for the character. So that was one thing that I really liked and something I think that's kind of gotten out of hand in the last decade or so.
Yeah. Well, actually, one interesting thing, one of the big shifts that changed voice acting in animated films as we know it, it was a voice acting profession. You are a voice actor, you do TV shows, you do movies, you do, miscellaneous characters or whatnot. But I think the main point here to look at that really shifted it for, the rest of the films here on out is Aladdin, which happens to be the movie that we are discussing today. But specifically, the Genie, which was voiced by Robin Williams. And, initially they designed the character of the Genie with him in mind. And they really went and recruited him to get him on board with this. At Destination D, we saw that they even took some of his stand-up routines and they had one of the animators animate a character transforming into his impersonations and different things. And it really sold Robin Williams. And so here on out, Robin Williams became the focus of this film. It became, Robin Williams is the voice of the Genie. And this was actually probably the first time that a major actor provided voiceover work for an animated film, at least in America. So, and of course the film was a huge success. Aladdin made, millions and millions of dollars, and the Genie was a big part of it. He was such a dynamic character. He was funny. And so it kind of created this allure that these other studios and Disney, they kept building on this success. Okay, so now let's get Matthew Broderick for Simba. Now let's get Mel Gibson for John Smith. And it just kind of went from just getting one or two actors to the whole cast is now somebody from television or TV. And that kind of, it bothers me a little bit because I want people who it's their craft to be a voice actor, where they study voice acting and they do the best performance, not I'm an actress who just happened to do this voice acting gig.
I agree.
Yeah. Have there ever been any voice characters that you were surprised when you found out who they were? That they did so well? Like for me, Matthew Broderick, this was one of them that when he was Simba, he did so well in that role that I had no idea it was him for years up until about 5 years ago, maybe. I don't know. I watched it and I saw his name on the credits. And that was the time when I realized it was Matthew Broderick. I was like, what? I didn't know this the entire time. I was blown away. But at the same time, now I can't watch it thinking that it's anyone but Matthew Broderick. But before, it was always just Simba. It wasn't anybody else. It was Simba. So for me, were there anybody else for you guys?
No, I mean, not that I later discovered who they were. Maybe the guy who did the voice of Dimitri and Anastasia. Actually, I didn't even know that Meg Ryan for a long time was Anastasia. Because I don't think I was really familiar with her at the time. I wasn't really into romantic comedies when I was 10. I don't know. But so when I discovered that she was, it really was surprising to me. And, now, of course, I hear Meg Ryan's voice all over Anastasia. So, I don't know. So that's kind of interesting. Yeah, I'm trying to think of anyone else.
Yeah, with me, I was pretty surprised that Bill Nighy, the guy who does, he's in a couple films. He's like in King's Speech. He was Davy Jones in all the Pirates movies. That he voiced Rattlesnake Jake in Rango. Mm. And who's the guy who plays Frasier? Not Brendan Fraser, but the guy who plays Frasier. Tossed salads and scrambled eggs. What's his name?
Kelsey Grammer.
Yeah, Kelsey Grammer. When Kelsey Grammer did Stinky Pete, and he also did
Vladimir.
Vladimir in Anastasia, I was pretty surprised at that, but that's probably because I'm just not familiar with Kelsey Grammer that much. But I mean, other than that, you can kind of pick them out, with Epic coming out, the kid from Parks and Rec, Asis Asnari or whatever his name is. Mm-hmm. He's one of the snail dudes. I totally picked up on that, but I really like him, so I'm kind of guilty. I kind of want to see that movie a little bit because he's in it, but so I don't know. It's this big, huge thing. It's this big, huge thing that we all of a sudden are going to animated films because they're featuring people that we like.
Yeah. Well, do you remember that Monsters versus Aliens?
Yes.
Ugh, I try not to. I couldn't even watch the movie.
I'll be honest. I never went to see it. But I was tempted just because it had Reese Witherspoon.
Oh, yeah, totally.
I was tempted. But then I think about it, I'm like, really? I like Reese Witherspoon live action. I don't really go to her movies because I like her voice. I go because I like watching her. So it was, I think that may be one of the reasons why I didn't go see it. But it was.
Now I'm tempted, Chelsea. I want to see this movie and see how she is in it.
I know, right? And I'll be honest.
You don't.
Anyway, yeah, and me being a singer, it's also interesting, when Taylor Swift was the voice on The Lorax, that also had a little bit of a pull for me, though I have yet to see that one either, so dang it.
Well, so what I think is kind of interesting is that, Robin Williams kind of started this, basically, and there were lesser name actors who were in the roles. For example, in Aladdin, Scott Wagner, he was the voice of Aladdin, but it wasn't really publicized too much that he was the voice of Aladdin. He was. And then, it's interesting, you look at the princesses, and they're not these huge A-list celebrities. Pocahontas wasn't, Mulan really wasn't. I mean, they were just kind of either Broadway actresses. I mean, but now I can't imagine Disney doing another princess movie without a big-name star attached to the lead. Kind of like they used to get away with. I can't even tell you who did the voice of Jasmine.
Yeah, not after Enchanted, they're not.
Yeah.
What?
Enchanted, they had the princess was a high-profile actress.
Yeah. Totally. And in Princess and the Frog and Tangled. It's Mandy Moore.
Maybe it has to do with the singing voice.
I don't know, but it may be, but I just can't imagine them just picking a girl off the street and saying, hey, you're our next big thing. But maybe. Yeah. It's just kind of interesting the way things have changed.
It is.
All right, we're going to wrap it up in last thoughts, I guess?
Last thoughts. Pitbull should never do voiceover work.
You were really adamant about this. The last 5 episodes you've said this.
Just saying. Well, I'm probably going to love him in Epic. So.
I want you to love him in Epic.
Anyone who shouldn't do voiceover work. That's a good question. Oh, gosh, I don't. Maybe Gilbert Gottfried shouldn't do anything anymore. Although he works so well as Iago, which we'll talk about.
You know who shouldn't do voiceover work is that kid who has a talk show. He's on SNL. He not Andy Samberg, Jimmy Fallon. I don't think he should ever do voiceover work.
Oh man, who is the guy in Elf?
Will Ferrell?
Yes.
He was the man in the yellow hat in the Curious George movie.
I know, but I do not like Will Ferrell. I'm sorry.
You didn't think he was great for Megamind?
I haven't seen Megamind yet.
Really
that came out when I was in Brazil.
It was good.
Go see it.
Okay. I have a hard time with Will Ferrell, so anything with him in it kind of draws me away.
Wasn't Andy Samberg the hero in Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs?
I don't know. I never saw that one. Although I need to. I heard it's really good.
Yeah, that one is good. I like.
Was that him? I don't know. Yeah. So my last opinion on this is that, like I said, these voice actors, they need to be the character and not themselves. And I guess it's hard when you get people with such distinguished styles and voices. But I don't like where it's going with this whole we're featuring this person as this character,
Yes, I agree.
It should be the other way around. It should be this is the actor portraying this character. The character is more important.
I'll take agreement with that. Well, thank you for this discussion, people.
Yeah, it's nice to be back on the couch.
Love the couch.
All right, folks. Now this is the moment we've all been waiting for. We don't do a whole lot of Disney animated classics, but here we are with our third, right, in this podcast series.
Mm-hmm.
I guess let's get down to it. Disney's Aladdin.
This holiday season, the Walt Disney Studios proudly presents our 31st all-new full-length animated motion picture, Aladdin. It's the most exciting magic carpet ride ever. A musical journey of mystery and wonder.
It's all so magical.
With Aladdin, his magic lamp, and some wonderful new friends.
Wow.
Princess Jasmine, Abu the monkey, Iago the parrot, Jafar the treacherous villain.
Bring me the lamp.
And a very powerful, very special
Genie of the Lamp. Right here, direct from the lamp.
Don't miss Disney's all-new musical entertainment event with 6 new songs from the Academy Award-winning composer of The Little Mermaid and Beauty and the Beast.
You ain't never had a friend. You ain't never had a friend. Never had a friend. You ain't never had a friend.
Walt Disney Pictures presents Aladdin.
You ain't never had a friend like me.
Woohoo!
Aladdin was first released the 25th of November, 1992, the same year that Wayne's World came out. That's kind of weird.
Really? I thought Wayne's World was way earlier.
Wayne's World was 1992. Aladdin was 1992. You know what? I was 4 years old when this movie came out.
Seriously?
Serial. Yeah, I was born in 88. Yeah, that's right.
I was 6.
4. Yeah.
Yeah, we were 6.
Yeah, well,
This is one of the very first movies that I remember seeing in theaters.
Yeah, I remember seeing this at the Dollar Theater. My dad would take us every Saturday. Every other Saturday, we'd go see a movie at the Dollar Theater on Saturday afternoon. And I remember this, crummy old Dollar Theater, the furthest back, theater, walking into it and looking up top and seeing the words Aladdin and just being so excited. So it started my love affair with this movie because I have since seen it 500 plus times. And I'm not ashamed to admit that.
Don't be. Own it.
You shouldn't be.
No, I'm
Definitely
not.
not.
I think we mentioned this before, but I used to fall asleep to this movie every night. It's just that good to me.
Do you still find an urge to fall asleep as you watch it now? You just watched it so many times falling asleep.
No, not necessarily this movie, but I've just kind of I've gotten my body accustomed to falling asleep to any movie. So I can't even go to a regular theater without falling asleep just because my body's so used to, okay, when you put a movie on and you lay down, it's to get you to fall asleep. So I will now fall asleep. It's not good. It's not good.
See, I don't agree with that whole philosophy of watching a movie to fall asleep.
It's bad. It's really bad for you.
You don't crank up your Xbox and start playing Call of Duty to fall asleep.
Well, that's a bit more engaging.
I mean, it's different because, you're participating more in a video game, but I guess I participate way too much in a film to fall asleep during it. But anyway, so yeah, Aladdin. We're not talking about any old Disney animated film here. This is one of the biggest, most beloved, most popular animated classics out there that Disney has made. We're talking about a budget of $28 million estimated. Worldwide, it grossed over $500 million worldwide.
Wow.
That's a lot. That's a lot of money.
Especially for 20 years ago.
Yeah,
right.
This is when it meant something.
Yeah, totally. It was became the 14th film and the first animated film to gross more than $200 million. That's nuts.
Totally.
Wow. They did well. They actually won the Oscar for Best Original Song and also Best Original Score.
Dang straight they did.
Good, they deserve it.
But do you know what? They actually lost out on one Academy Award for Best Adapted Screenplay because Robin Williams ad-libbed so many of his lines. So the script was turned down for that one.
Wow.
Sad.
Oh, sad.
Well, they should just pen him as a screenwriter as well, and then you're set.
Exactly.
There you go.
I'm just that good
Way
of a
to go,
screenwriter. I can't
Robert.
look him on the spot.
Yeah, seriously. Well, that's pretty interesting there. Now, going into development, we're talking Ron Clements and John Musker for directors.
We got to meet them.
Yay.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. We took a picture with them, and we met them at Destination D. We didn't really get to talk to them very long, but it was pretty neat.
Holy shnikes.
I know. Except for I had a stupid moment. I was like, hey, good luck on Frozen. And then in my mind, I was like, no, they're not working on Frozen. Why did I just say that?
Oh, no!
And he was like, no, we're not on
You
Frozen.
should have just gone home.
He was like, no, we're on something super secret. I'm like, yes, of course you are. I know that. I'm just an idiot.
Okay, so did you read these people's name tags and recognize them, or do you recognize their faces?
From their faces.
Oh my gosh, you're nuts.
The reason I recognize their faces, one, they just did a panel right before, and
Yeah.
two,
Oh,
I've
okay.
watched the making of Aladdin multiple times, and three, they actually have a cameo in Aladdin. They are those two guys that when Prince Ahmed is walking up, and one of them says, on his way to the palace, I suppose, and the other one says, another suitor for the princess. Those two guys are the directors. So
Oh, I knew there was something. I know they were focusing a little too much on those two guys.
originally they were supposed to be Siskel and Ebert, the film critics, but they couldn't get permission, so they're like, just throw the directors in there. And I thought it was pretty cool little insider knowledge right there.
I love director and/or nine old men cameos.
Yes.
Who's a big metal man? Freaking
there's-
Ahmed. I want to know
no-
who voiced that guy because only your fleas will mourn you. It's pretty good.
I'm not worthless. And I don't have fleas.
He scratches his head.
I know. I wish they just would have added a little couple fleas bouncing away at that moment.
I don't know. Yeah, that would have been funny. Poor Aladdin. He has fleas. I bet he only has fleas because he hangs out with Abu.
Yes.
What does Aladdin owe Abu?
He'd owe him.
Yeah, what do you mean, him?
Well, I mean, he's always hanging out with him. He's always sharing his food with him.
It's his
They're
friend.
like buddies.
That's why we have our pets. Like in Anastasia, it was a dog, and all of us we have a pet, and Aladdin has his monkey.
Yeah, to me those pet sidekick characters are a little expendable, but
Yeah,
But not Abu. Abu is very good sidekick character, I believe, in this movie.
he's okay.
Anyway,
Going back to the development, the animation is really interesting in this film. I think it's awesome. For one, was this the first Disney film to use CGI?
No, the first Disney film to use CGI, or animated film, was The Great Mouse Detective, where the clock scene, the clock where Basil and Ratigan are fighting at the very end, that is a 3D.
Yes.
But this is the very first animated character.
And that is the Cave of Wonders and the Magic Carpet, correct?
No, just the Cave of Wonders. The Magic Carpet, he's drawn by hand, and then they kind of mapped the texture onto him.
Holy shnikes, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Wow, they had me fooled. Now, there's some notable animation here. I'm going to compare Aladdin to Mulan here because I think both films are very large and, dare I say, epic in scale. Pre-Mulan, huge crowds. They hand draw. When they push Aladdin in front of the big crowd to be like, they ought to be married. And there's that huge crowd, and then they zoom out and it's just a bunch of dots.
Yeah.
yeah.
I love that. And then during A Whole New World, they fly by a bunch of herd of horses, and that's all hand-drawn. It's not a CG program like they used for the Huns' charge down the mountain in the Mulan.
Impressive.
Yeah, very impressive. But yeah, that's just a couple things that I noticed. When I first saw this film, I really liked it because it was fun and the music was really cool. But I still didn't pay attention to much until the genie showed up.
Yeah, that is the moment when everything changes.
What I love about the Genie is that he's like a very transcendent character. He's magical. He can do essentially whatever he wants, apparently except for free himself. He can do anything else. And with that, apparently comes time travel. He must have hopped in a time vortex because he references
time vortex.
These characters from, the mid-50s, 30s, 40s, the 20th century, and then throws them back at Aladdin and all the other characters' faces, and then they completely react with deaf ears. It's like, meh, okay, he just did some weird impersonation or weird. I don't even know if they'd call it an impersonation. But yeah, he just did some weird impersonation. No big deal. Like, it just completely just kind of goes over their head. They don't even react. He's more just for us to react.
Yeah. The only reason that in all of these jokes and all of these modern day references work, I think, is just because he is a genie, which really just kind of throws it all together. Like, he can really do no wrong. He can just say whatever he wants and he can be good with it.
I know, he does so much. And not only does he do that, but a couple things I noticed watching this time was that there are quite a few cameos by other Disney characters in the film. Do you guys know all the cameos of other... Okay, Pinocchio, but these are just things for our viewers to watch out for, You got to make it fun and don't tell them when they're at.
The next one is... Who does he turn into?
There's the goofy hat at the end.
Yeah. You can also see Beauty and the Beast, or at least the Beast, in one scene.
Yeah, and then Sebastian, also the genie.
Yeah.
Well, doesn't he turn into Jafar?
Yeah, but that's the same movie.
I work for Senior Psychopath now. He still turns into a Disney character.
I saw on IMDb, I haven't looked at it yet, but apparently when Raja is jumping back into the arms of the Sultan, when he's growing at the very end, for one frame, he has the head of Mickey Mouse.
Ah, yes.
And that's one that our viewers should look out for because it's really cool. I actually paused my VHS copy of it.
Yeah.
And I did frame by frame by frame, and I saw it.
Really?
It's like the shape of his head turns into Mickey Mouse's head. It's not like full on, like it's Mickey Mouse.
Oh, yeah.
It's like Raja with the shape of Mickey Mouse's head. Isn't that weird?
That is awesome.
That's hilarious.
Somebody just was having fun with that one.
Okay, did anyone else notice that Jim Cummings did some voice acting in this film?
Yes, I did. I'll
have your hands for a trophy, Street Rat.
Yes, he's also the voice of Pete, so he has a very distinctive voice in my mind, so I can spot him.
Oh, yes, I knew
he played Raoul, the main lead guard for the palace.
Yeah, the lead guard. He's got a sword. You idiots, we've all got swords.
There's so many great quotes. There's so many amazing quotes in this. I think that's one of the things that makes this movie so incredibly memorable. Every single scene has either a great quote or a great gag. Mm-hmm. And there's just no throwaway scenes throughout the entire movie, which is very hard to come by these days.
Yeah, totally. Man, I freaking love Aladdin. Like, it's... Like, there's some annoying characters I don't like I don't like in every Disney film because I'm that critical. But just like the scope and the whole spectacle and display of this movie, it's just pure Disney. I don't have any other way to describe it, really. Because you've got the songs and you've got all these cool animations and you got all these cool effects and the drama and the excitement. Not to mention some awesome characters that have grinded their way into Disney immortality. Like, you could never forget these characters.
Yeah.
Okay, number one is Jafar, voiced by Jonathan Freeman. This guy is an amazing villain, and he's like almost like half of why Aladdin is so great. Jafar is rated number 2 on the top Disney villains list. Number 3 was Scar, FYI, and number 1 was Maleficent, which is still a mystery to me. But I think he's just the coolest guy. I think he's like the quintessential and the ultimate Disney villain.
Yeah, what I love about Jafar is that he's very opposite of what we talked about in Anastasia, Rasputin. Jafar is serious, he's mean, and he's cruel. And there's no joke about him. He's not a gag villain. I mean, the one part where he turns into the old man with the teeth. When he's But other than that, I mean, he is vile. And he does not apologize for that being that way. That's just how he is, and he wants to achieve it. And, he does some really horrible, rotten things. There are some funny moments when Princess Jasmine walks in and she's like, look at you, standing here deciding my future? I'm not a prize to be won. And they're all, like, during that part, they're all awkwardly, looking around. Like, that's kind of a funny moment. But for the most part, he's just a mean guy.
Yeah. Well, did you know that at first Jafar was the more hot-tempered, while Iago was that cool, that haughty British type, you know? But the filmmakers, they thought that having Jafar losing his temper all that much would make him less menacing. True. And so the personalities got switched. So like you were saying, you know, it basically the total opposite of Rasputin. That was the problem with that movie, is that Rasputin was the gag character and not the sidekick.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. So if they would have had their original plans, would have Guilford Godfrey voiced Jafar?
Oh man.
Fail. No, I freaking love Jafar. Like Morgan talked about that Jasmine scene where they're like standing around awkwardly, not making eye contact. Like, he's dramatic and he's got that evil laugh, and his voice has so many inflections and stuff. Yeah. But he's got some comedy here and there, kind of like Ursula. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's just like you've got this totally outrageous villain who just loves himself. And the mark of a great villain is by the number of puns they think they can get away with, during their reign of power towards the climax of the film. Your time is up, princess. Things are unraveling quickly. It's like, oh.
A snake am I? Well, let's just see how snake-like I can be.
Oh my gosh, Jafar as a snake is awesome, dude. Scared the crap out of me.
Oh, yes.
He's definitely your sorcerer transformation character. He does a lot of costume changes, a lot of transformations in the last half of the film. I still don't know how he pulls off the old man disguise.
Yeah, I know. So you just realize that he has really tiny legs.
Something I noticed about his animation also is that he doesn't have an eye glint. He doesn't have that little spark of light in his eyes. And I think that makes him even more like evil. There are actually a lot of Disney characters that don't have that, which I was surprised about. Like, the majority of the characters in Hunchback of Notre Dame don't have it, even the good people.
Well, even I remember hearing an interview with Don Bluth, how they were just talking about how they just stopped doing that in some of the films, just because it was getting like too expensive to like be that thorough. But it was cool. When we were at Destination D, he had Andres Deja come up and he taught us how to draw Jafar.
Oh, sweet.
It was so fun.
You ever notice how that guy's lips are like 3 feet away from his nose?
Yeah. Well, he was just talking about how before him, he did Gaston. He's like, oh, I was so mad that I had to do him because on the one hand, he was the villain, but at the same time, I had to make him like good looking. So I couldn't do much with it. But then when I got Jafar, I was like, yes. Now I can just make him evil to my heart's content. And so you're just showing us how he drew everything. But you can also see he actually got his ideas for the design of Jafar from Maleficent in Sleeping Beauty. Mark Davis was the one who drew Sleeping Beauty, who was like, it's just a beautiful, I love that movie. But really, if you look at, there's a lot of different similarities that they have. Like, they both carry a staff. And they both use, like, evil magic. They both have a bird. Well, Maleficent's is a raven. Jafar's is a parrot, but still.
Both birds.
They're both birds. And, and they both turn themselves into these huge animals. I thought it was really cool. I was like, hey, there's a lot of similarities here, too.
So, Morgan, you didn't like Guilford Gottfried in the movie?
No, I like Guilford Gottfried. Like, he's really, really annoying. At times, his voice, he's just yelling all the time, but he totally works for this role. I do appreciate that Gilbert Gottfried did do Iago, because Iago's a great character. It's funny, I always wonder, really, would a person like Jafar put up with someone like Iago? Like, would they really be friends, or would he already have skewered and cooked him by now? But, I don't know, they kind of work. It's kind of, you got the serious one and the funny one, but they're both pretty evil.
Yeah, you never really find out, like, why do these villains have these really great, these zany sidekicks? Like, how they...
Well, they gotta be with someone, I guess.
It just doesn't seem realistic to me.
Oh, realistic? It's a Disney film, Orion.
Yeah. Oh, fine.
I will have power to be rid of you. Oh, please! We're gonna love him. I'm out in the menagerie. Hurry.
I love that scene. And then you got the other bird. Like, you got a problem, Pinky?
Actually, for that scene, Gilbert Gottfried did do the impersonation of Jasmine. That wasn't Jasmine doing it. It was him doing the impersonation. So that is like total props to him.
Yeah, that was good.
I remember watching that on like the DVD and being like, dang.
Holy crap. He's good, man. That's awesome. Now, going back to Jafar, this guy's super popular in the Disney villain pantheon. I mean, look on his Wikipedia article, and it's pretty extensive.
I love whatever Wikipedia gets brought up.
Yeah.
Dude, Wikipedia, man. We're going to have to do like a Disney villains top Rotoscopers countdown or something like that.
We could do that.
Yeah, totally. So Disney's House of Mouse, that cartoon series, I thought it was a cool concept. I just don't think the animation was very good. It was just kind of cheap and kind of Flash animation-ish. And one of those episodes, Jafar is seen at a table with Maleficent. Now, the rumor is they were on a date, and the fan base got all excited, so they were a great match. May not be true, folks. Go check the tabloids for that if you want to subscribe to that. But Jafar was also played a pretty big role in the movie of House of Mouse called House of Villains, where the villains take over Mickey's nightclub entertainment.
That's right.
Now, here's a cameo that I didn't even know about. There's a PlayStation game called Aladdin in Nasir's Revenge. Now, you may be wondering who Nasir is.
I am, yes.
Well, for those who did Wikipedia research, Nasira is Jafar's sister, who in this PlayStation game kidnaps Jasmine and attempts to sacrifice her to resurrect Jafar.
Was that in the show?
I don't even think she was in the show. I think she was just in this game.
Oh, jeez. They're like, we need more women. Throw his sister in there.
I know, right? And then, of course, Jafar is seen all over the place in the Kingdom Hearts series. Any last words on Jafar?
No. Except for that today's featured Wikipedia article happens to be Jafar. It's meant to be.
Really?
It's meant to be.
Yeah.
Holy crap. Awesome.
Classy.
So let's move on from, the big bad guy to one of the good guys, the Genie, who was voiced by Robin Williams.
Yeah.
So many good things. I think he steals the show on this.
I believe
agree to disagree, maybe not.
He does. Even though he's such a high-profile voice actor, I think the Genie is the ultimate minor character in any Disney film. Move over, Abu. Seriously.
Yeah, agreed.
Aladdin has never had a friend like the Genie. So what does that say about Abu?
Oh, you just got pushed out, dude.
Snap.
Yeah, so an interesting thing about the Genie is that he also voiced the merchant peddler at the beginning, salam and good evening, worthy friends. That guy, who definitely, shows off his bazaar and the funky things that he's selling, and which is kind of interesting because he definitely shows his side, his comedic genius in that role. But I guess the only problem about the merchant that I had, originally the merchant was supposed to come back throughout the story and tell the story, but then they found out that he kind of ruins the mood and ruined the momentum by going back to the peddler. And so I don't know, I always thought it was kind of weird that there's this peddler, he introduces it, and voila, we just go to the story and we never go back to the peddler again. Did any of that bother you at all?
It did, but at the same time, I liked it a lot how at the end of the third one, he comes back.
Yeah.
I liked the merchant because he kind of got the crowd warmed up. Because it's at first he's like this, I am a harmless merchant, and then come closer, and not that close. It's all of a sudden these wacky comedy things start happening. So it gets the audience warmed up. And then he also does a great job of introducing the lamp, the iconic object of the film, and also introducing the main theme of the film, which is, do not be fooled by its commonplace appearance. It's not on the outside, but on the inside that matters.
Oh, yeah.
And he's like...
Do you know what's interesting? If you look at it, they actually planned that the Genie would somehow turn into the merchant at the end, and just to kind of hey, guess what? It was him the whole time. Mm-hmm. And if you look, he is the only human character with 4 fingers.
There you go.
Oh.
So, there you go.
And he's still voiced by Robin Williams.
Yeah. And that whole thing was totally unscripted, too. They brought Robin Williams into the soundstage, and he was asked to stand behind a table that had several objects under this, bed sheet. And the animator's okay, lift it up, and without looking at the object, just describe it in character. And so, that's where all of this stuff comes from. He's and this is that. Oh, and this is the Julian Prize.
Oh, he's so genius.
I know.
Yeah, dude, he is so talented. He can do stuff like that.
Amazing.
Yeah, I remember watching King of Thieves, the third Aladdin film, and feeling very satisfied when the movie wrapped up with the merchant finishing off with Arabian Nights. I thought it was cool. I still didn't know it was the Genie.
Yeah, they definitely bookend that series very well. It's an awesome movie, then not so awesome. Definitely, we try to forget about it. And then a decent closer.
Yeah, totally. So what are your favorite Genie moments / quotes? Let's just get them out there.
Favorite Genie moments. Let's see. Oh, great, now I'm on the spot. I love that whole part where he's, all right, Sparky, here's the deal, you know. And he turns into Jack Nicholson, and then he just turns into like thing after thing after thing, and it's that. Like, actually, one of my favorite parts is when they fly out of the Cave of Wonders, and he's like, "Thank you for choosing Magic Carpet for all your travel needs. Don't stand until the rug has come to a complete stop. Goodbye now, goodbye, goodbye now, goodbye, goodbye. Well, how about that, Mr. Doubting Mustafa?"
I love that quote. That's one of my favorites. I quote that one all the time.
Oh my gosh. Like when he first busts out of the lamp and he just starts going on, it's like, oh my gosh, this movie has just become incredible. And he's like totally overwhelming Aladdin, you know, genie of the lamp, you know, and Aladdin's just like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I love it because he's clearly a comedian. He loves to joke around. He's been stuck in this lamp 10,000 years. And, you know, it's like, seriously, like he's a comedian walking on stage and just, you know, doing his best stuff.
It's like, I've been planning this one for 10,000 years.
Dude, seriously. You know what's so great about this film is that the genie is amazing, but you also feel for him when he starts going into his, like, oh, to be free, you know? And it makes the ending all the more special. Like, we're totally cheering for the genie when he's free at the end. Yeah. Because that's just his personality. Like, he's, you know, he's free-flowing and...
Very endearing.
Yeah, I like how they do that, because we, like, totally love the genie. Like, we love him. He's not just, like, a source of cheap laughs for us.
Yeah, because they did a really good job at adding that human element in there. You want to root for him. Like, he himself has his own problems, and it's like, you make me laugh, and I want you to be happy, too.
Yeah, this movie's kind of like A Knight's Tale, and the genie's like the Geoffrey Chaucer of this film, because he like totally supports Aladdin. He takes a liking to him instantly, you know.
Yeah.
And then it becomes even more special between them, you know, I guess, towards the end of the film. But yeah, man, I totally love this character, and I think him combined with Jafar make the strongest presence in this film, and it's just so well done that it practically makes the film these two characters.
Yeah, one of the things I love about the genie is that he is kind of the source of truth. And, like, kind of not like a Jiminy Cricket conscience, but he does try to lead Aladdin in the right way. You know, Aladdin has his fun, he has his wishes, and then Genie says, hey, this is what you need to do. Tell her the truth. And then Aladdin just disregards him and doesn't listen to him. And so Genie really is this heartfelt source of ethical truth that Aladdin is prideful and ignores and realizes, no, I can't do that because things will go wrong. On top of all those things that you just said, you know, the comedic element, and we love him. I mean, he is kind of this guiding light to Aladdin.
Yeah, you know, he really is, especially when he points to Jasmine at the end. He's like, dude, go on. Like, you don't meet a girl like this every million years. Believe me, I've looked. Mm-hmm. So it's like, this guy knows, you know? Mm-hmm. Ultimate cosmic power.
He has been around for quite some time.
Eternity of Service isn't that bad.
What I didn't understand is at that point, why didn't they just, like, pass the lamp around to everyone? Let everybody get their wishes out of the way, and then let them go.
I know, because it went to Jafar.
Totally
He's like, sorry, I got a new master now, you know?
I always thought that when I was little. I was like, wait, like, let other people get some wishes out of this.
Yeah.
Increase your life, you know, and your...
That was just
awesome.
being my very pragmatic, if nothing else.
You know, I never thought about that until this time that I watched it, because I'm like, okay, so Jafar stole the lamp, so now he gets to be the master, even though Aladdin's wishes aren't all fulfilled yet?
It's whoever has the lamp.
Oh, shoot.
I'm saying, just pass it around, and it'll be done. Do you guys think that this movie would be as cool as it is without the music?
Dude, definitely not. These are some of the best Disney tunes ever.
Totally agree. It has the best all-around collection of songs. Not just like, oh, this one's really good, but I mean, Disney was really in their stride during this time. One, because they still had Howard Ashman along, and this is some of the best Disney music all around.
Basically, Howard Ashman, I think he was the main catalyst for the Disney Renaissance. That's my humble opinion, but I think it was. He and Alan Menken together just were the amazing team.
Yeah, so Howard Ashman, he died in the middle of production, so they had to bring in Tim Rice, who is famous for The Lion King, to go and to finish the lyrics. But a lot of these songs completely have Howard Ashman's mark all over them. You know, Friend Like Me, One Jump, especially even like Prince Ali. Howard Ashman loved these just like fast, funny liners. So you think in Little Mermaid.
Yeah, it's all about rhythm.
Yeah. In Little Mermaid, there's a part where in Under the Sea where it's the black fish, she sings a da, 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 you know, like how he just keeps going from fish to fish to fish. You know, in Prince Ali at the very end, he's like, with 60 elephants, llamas. Wait, how does that part go?
60 elephants, llamas galore, with bears and lions, a brass band, 40 fakers, his cooks, his bakers, his birds are all along key.
Make way for Prince Ali.
Yeah, he just loved those runs that just had like funny bits in the middle of them. And so I appreciate him because only he could do it in the way that he did.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's a lot of like fast-paced rhythm that I really love. I cannot even imagine how challenging / fun it was to animate the Genie singing a film. Because, I mean, he goes all over the place in that song.
A Friend Like Me, yeah. You know what's funny? When they did their test screening for this movie, nobody applauded after the big song of A Friend Like Me. And so the animators were like, dang it, I wanted the applause. And so somebody went in and stuck Genie with the applause sign at the very end. And the joke just worked and fit. And so it kept it for the film. And they're like, yes, we got our actual applause.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Yeah, man, I love it.
So in this movie, production, it was going a completely different way. Originally, Aladdin had a mom. He wasn't an orphan. He had like a gang of buddies that he was with, and he was actually a lot younger than originally. So there's a lot of deleted songs that obviously got cut as they changed things away. One of the most famous is Proud of Your Boy, and this is a song that Aladdin, not necessarily singing to his mother. Wait, did Aladdin's mom die in this pre-version?
No, she was around.
Yeah, and he was singing this song saying, "You'll be proud of your boy. I want you to be proud of your boy." And you can see that on some of the deleted scenes on the Blu-ray and the DVDs. That's one of the ones that they've released. But there are also some other ones. One called "Call Me a Princess." Who do you think sung that?
Jafar.
It's not a Yaga.
And another one, "Why Me?" Another song called "Babkik, Omar, Aladdin, Kasim." Obviously, that was him and his 4 gang of friends. I imagine that was replaced with "One Jump."
Probably.
A song called "Humiliate the Boy," which was sung by Jafar because it was considered way too cruel for the film. And actually, kind of the bummer about this is the guy who played Jafar is this incredible Broadway singer, and so they really wanted an awesome villain song for him.
He had one in Return of Jafar.
Yeah. I don't know. Was that the same guy?
I don't know.
But so they did do the Prince Ali reprise where Jafar sings, which I must say is one of my favorite songs in the movie is when Jafar sings. Anyways, there was another song called High Adventure and another song called Count on Me. And this was something that Aladdin sung to his friends and family, and eventually it was changed to A Whole New World. So lots of songs that were cut and changed. I'm happy with the final result. Keep it the way it is.
Yeah, me too. But what's interesting is they actually are putting Proud of Your Boy into the musical that they're putting on Broadway.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Cool.
Alan Menken said that when he was at D23, Destination D, I found one video, and it's only like 3 minutes long, and I was like, oh.
I have Lou Mangello's sending us the audio, so we'll be able to see that.
Ooh, sweet.
Yeah. That's just as good, right?
Yeah, right. But yeah, so he does mention that. He's like, the Proud of Your Boy is going to be in the Broadway play.
Cool.
I think they could change the words a little bit in a way so they don't actually have to like say that the mom is there, obviously, because the mom's not. But yeah, like you said, it just works out a whole lot better.
And one last thing, a little, juicy tidbit is the opening song Arabian Nights was censored because of political sensitivity. The original lyric, it says, are you going to sing it, Chelsea?
Where they cut off their ear if they don't like your face. It's barbaric, but hey, it's home.
So that was considered, not very cool for them to say. So there were lots of...
but like the dude was going to cut off Jasmine's arm.
I know. Kept that in. I think it was a fine lyric, whatever.
I thought it was fine.
There were lots of protests by the Americans.
Disney's never shied away from stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, there were lots of protests by the American Arab Anti-Discrimination Committee, so they really put a lot of heat on that.
AADC.
And so they changed the new line in subsequent releases and on the new soundtrack, new DVD. It's where it's flat and immense and the heat is intense. It's barbaric, but hey, it's home. You know, I don't like that one as much. Yeah. Luckily, I still have the original version on my iPod, and that's the way it's going to stay.
Yeah, me too. Is it true that Entertainment Weekly used to suggest Aladdin as in the top 25 most controversial films?
Yeah.
That is the dumbest suggestion I've ever heard.
What?
Okay, there are plenty more controversial films.
Aladdin, I mean, what... Other than that one line, what's so controversial? Well, I guess, okay, so one of the things about Aladdin that was considered so controversial is that Aladdin and Jasmine, even though this is an Arabian film, they have very European designs. So, I mean, Aladdin doesn't look like how someone from that area should. He very much looks very Western in a way. Yeah. So that was one of the reasons that they very Europeanized it. Another controversial thing is they stole a lot of plot elements from The Thief and the Cobbler. There are actually a lot of animators who worked on that film prior to coming to Aladdin, and so that was a big fuss that people put. And then, last but not least, this is probably the most famous controversial bit, was the old take off your clothes bit. I don't believe that.
You know, I didn't really hear anything. I even went onto this YouTube video that spaced it out and like showed you, but I mean, I don't know if I believe that.
What I've heard and what I personally believe, he doesn't say good teenagers take off your clothes. First off, that would never fly in a recording session.
Right.
Yeah, first of all, that would never fly. Like, why would they be so dumb as to include that in the movie on purpose? And that has nothing to do with anything.
And what he says is, good kitty, take off and go. Do you ever remember, like, people would be like, oh, put in your Aladdin videotape, and they, you know, then you turn up your sound, you get really close to it, and you have to rewind it again and again.
I can hear something in there, though. It's like, it's brief and subtle, but I guess I'm also kind of trying to impose that thought into it, maybe, just because I've heard that.
Yeah. I'm not a believer. I believe in the purity of Disney.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd like to kind of talk about this film in the 3-act structure, because that's what Aladdin is. It's your Western 3-act story structure in the style of a musical, like I explained. Oh, and you gotta love that classic Walt Disney Pictures intro, you know?
Oh,
you know what I'm talking about? Yes. Ready for it? Oh. It's like, wah, 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 wah. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Oh, I know that one.
At Destination D, they had special club member only T-shirts. They were blue T-shirts with that original logo on them.
Oh, really?
I wanted one so badly, but they sold out the first day, and we got there. Well, no, the pre-day. You know, you could register the day before. We got there the day of, and they were already all gone. So,
no!
I would have bought one. I would have bought two.
Dude, I love it. I like how the film starts. It's like this really exciting introduction, and we go right into this mysterious villain who is, you know, this dark man in a dark night for a dark purpose, you know? Yeah, and so we're introduced to the main characters. The first one is Aladdin. I don't really have, like, a huge opinion on Aladdin. He's just kind of there. I mean, he's kind of funny. You know, he's got the character flaw that all the, you know, that the Disney protagonist needs and stuff.
I believe that Aladdin is one of the best Disney guys.
I agree.
He's good looking. He's athletic. What? He's very charming in a way. A lot of girls will agree with you on this. Aladdin is one of the best.
Okay, where does Tarzan fall in your
the problem with Tarzan is that he was raised by apes.
It's true. I can't go for a guy like that.
He just doesn't have like the smooth sex appeal.
Give the boy a chance.
I feel like Aladdin is so much more endearing.
He's more relatable.
Yeah. It's true.
So actually, an interesting thing about Aladdin, in this, you know, original script that they had to redo, he was actually a younger character. And then when they placed him next to Princess Jasmine, because her character design was fine, he looked almost too young. Like, oh, this is kind of creepy that they would be interested in each other.
Next to the standard, next to the standard 15-year-old Disney princess.
Yeah, totally. I mean, so that puts him at 12 and she's 15. This is Queen Amidala territory, okay? So, it's actually interesting because they had already animated a few scenes and then they decided, oh, this isn't going to work. We got to change them. So, they changed the design, but they were already so far along in the production process that some of those scenes are still in the movie of the younger Aladdin. And typically they're shots where he's further back He's far away, like at a distance, so he's not that up close and personal anyway. Mainly in the song A Friend Like Me is where you can see this the most. This was the very first scene that they animated, and so they'd already put so much time and effort into this. They only changed the scenes where he was up close, but if you look frequently in this scene, it's like every other shot, there's just a younger version of Aladdin. And it's actually really distracting once you watch it, because he does look like a little boy compared to the new, improved, Aladdin out there. So that's kind of an interesting thing to look for. It'll kind of ruin Aladdin for you, but it's still kind of...
You just ruined it all. One other funny thing, Brad Kane was Aladdin's singing voice. And originally he was going to do the speaking voice as well, but then the role was finally given to Scott Wagner. I gotta say, I love Scott Wagner's voice. He's awesome. He was Steve on Full House. I love that show. Anyway.
Lame.
Okay, so let's go to the next character who we're introduced is Jasmine, our lovely princess. She's voiced by Linda Larkin.
I remember loving her so much. When I was in the first grade, I even tied my hair in multiple little rubber bands so it would have that bulgingness down, because I had really long hair and I was really wanting it to look like her. But obviously it wasn't nearly as good, and I was very sad.
No, I mean, but remember those earrings? Those were sweet.
Yeah,
Jasmine had
great
it going
fashion
on.
sense.
Yeah, but she didn't have the sense to take them off in the marketplace. It's like, oh, I'm not the princess. I'm just an ordinary girl with solid gold earrings that weigh 5 pounds each.
Oh, yeah, and her headpiece, too.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, you're not going to see that.
Only royalty wears this, and I just happen to be wearing one.
Right.
Coincidence, purely coincidence.
I guess so. And yeah, and then she meets up with Aladdin, and it's like, here we go with the classic Disney romance that fully blooms after about 5 minutes. And then they almost kiss, It's like, dude. Aladdin's kind of dumb if he doesn't think that Jasmine won't fall in love with him again as the thief. It's like, no, I have to be a prince. But it's like, okay, you're going through all this trouble just to get her to like you as a prince, when as a street rat, she liked you after 2 seconds.
Totally.
It's true.
She was all over you.
It's true. How did you miss that?
I'm glad that the almost kiss isn't the only almost well, it doesn't end there, because the real kiss, I think, is the best kiss in Disney fandom. Or
right.
Disney
It's drawn just like every other Disney kiss.
Oh, no, that is a very hot kiss. It is.
What about John Smith and Pocahontas? They had some steam going.
Yeah.
They didn't have magic carpet pushing them in.
Yeah.
Very added moment.
Oh, jeez.
Anyways, that's the girl point of view. On to the Sultan.
A kiss? Oh, that sissy stuff. Yeah, we got the Sultan. I like the Sultan. I like his character design. It's very, circle-based. He's just kind of poofy. It reminded me of what they did with the character designs for Up. It was all based on really basic geometrical shapes. And I just like how you can really see that arc motion, when he moves his limbs and stuff. He's just very... very, not majestic, but he's just very stately, very kind of poofy and pompy and circle-based, Not very bright. Definitely not very bright. I'm an excellent judge of character.
I don't know where she gets it from. Her mother wasn't nearly so picky.
I love those little miniatures that he has. He has the miniature animals, and then he has this miniature, I don't know, thing of the city, and it's just great. He's so into his toys.
I know, a full-scale model of Agrabah. Not to mention his jewel collection, which Jafar apparently needs. What was up with that, the Mystic Blue Diamond part? Where he's
I agree.
I require it to find his suitor. That's kind of random. Jafar's so powerful, why does he need a Mystic Blue Diamond?
Yeah, it just, conveniently happens to be one that the royal family owns.
Yeah.
But it's
and also you realize, as you watch it, it only shows up 5 seconds before he actually talks about it.
Yeah.
He was never wearing this ring up until that moment.
Yeah, that's an interesting plot hole.
Well, maybe it's just kind of a device to show off how manipulative Jafar is.
Yeah, the real reason for that scene is to show us the snake hypnotizing, so we're familiar with it in the future.
Yeah.
Because then he tries to use it again right before Prince Ali comes, and then again when Aladdin and Jasmine are there, and Aladdin calls him out.
I will marry Jasmine. You will marry... But you're so old.
That's fantastic.
And then another character we get introduced to. Actually, we get introduced to 3 characters that are voiced by the same person Frank Welker, who is Raja, Abu, and the Cave of Wonders.
I thought he had a great character voice. Talking about, voice actors, I loved the fact that he did such a great job on these. Like, Raja is my favorite. Allah forbid you should have any daughters. And he turns to Raja and he's like, arr. But he's
seriously.
He's got great he added life to so many different characters. I loved it.
Yeah, I really like how they did the animals, because a lot of, there are animals that have personalities and have things to say in the film, but they don't talk. This is not a talking animal movie besides Iago. But they did a great job of animating them and making them readable, so I appreciated that. Like, Abu, for as annoying as he is, you can totally tell what he's thinking and what he's doing.
Yeah.
Okay, act number 2. The action starts rising, when Aladdin goes on this quest with the shady old man. Aladdin in the Cave of Wonders is like kind of the coolest parts in the film for me. For one, the Cave of Wonders is like the freakiest dang cave I've ever seen. I would not go in there. I'm not your diamond in the rough.
Well, I mean, this lion tiger thing pops out of the sand. Like, you're really going to go into that? Jeez.
I know, man. He's got his mouth open. Oh, man. But talk about a cave, man. There's a lot of crap in there, man. It's got all this like Mesopotamian like solid gold idols and like piles of gold, and
Oh, those stuff are awesome.
And then we're introduced to the magic carpet, who's like one of the coolest characters. Another character who's like awesome animation because you can really read how he feels. Like in that first scene, and the carpet is like shy, and then he's like playful. But then he's hurt because Abu insults him and disses him. He's like walking off, and then he's like, no, hey, come back. And he like comes back, oh, me, Now, I've got a conundrum here with the magic carpet. So the rule is to touch nothing but the lamp, because what'll happen when he does. So Aladdin totally touches the carpet. So is the carpet not a treasure of the Cave of Wonders, or is he like a prisoner?
I always wondered about that, too. I think he's a prisoner because, I mean, I can, conjure up in my mind everything else is gold or some type of a jewel, and he's the only thing else living there. So that's my guess.
Right, because the genie, he talks to the carpet. He's an old buddy of his,
Right.
And then totally unlike the weird, freaky monkey genie solid gold statue thingy, that's holding the ruby.
Yes.
Infidels.
I love that part.
Dude, it's scary, man.
Yeah.
So was the ruby forbidden, or is all the treasure forbidden?
All the treasure. Well, the whole thing is just a temptation.
Right.
Anybody that goes in there is just going to be walked through, and that's just the last ditch effort, last chance to tempt this person.
Yeah, I guess so. Anyway, so yeah, he meets the genie. He gets out of there, becomes a prince. Now Al as Prince Ali. That's when you start I started getting kind of annoyed with Aladdin because it's like, dude, come on, how far are you going to bury yourself into your lies?
True.
I like how the feather on his prince hat keeps falling down whenever he tells a lie and he has to blow it back up.
Yeah.
Now I got a question here. Did Jasmine know he was really Aladdin the whole time? Because I know she suspected him before they end up on that kind of that way out in China. How'd they do that? But even after he lied again, it was like, oh yes, to escape the pressures of palace life. Do you think she knew after that, and she was just waiting for him to tell her the truth?
I think she suspected, and she kind of was starting to get on it, especially when he kind of revealed his tell, which is the apple thing. And then he talks her back into it, so then she's like, not that strange. And then she doesn't think about it anymore. But I don't know. It's always kind of an ambiguous thing. Like, does she really know or doesn't she? Is she playing along with it?
Well, and if he really is a prince, why in the world would he be in this marketplace? Wherever he's from.
Her marketplace.
You apparently have a lot more business than mine does, so we import.
Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, and then after their date, they're all happy again, and the Sultan's like, "Oh, wonderful! You two will be wed at once." Not yeah, you'll get married in 2 more movies, pal.
Yeah.
Which kind of adds to my big theory here, or my conspiracy theory here, that Return to Jafar was actually like a dream, and that it didn't really happen.
Oh.
Yes.
Mason conspiracy theory of the night.
Remember when we talked about the Disney sequels?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it just makes sense. Aladdin is supposed to have one, but Jafar comes back. He's just randomly found in the desert by some dude. Aladdin's not in his princely clothes anymore. He's back in his street rat garb, And, Jasmine's back in her, singles wear. And the genie is not voiced by the real person. Neither is the Sultan. So it's just nothing adds up.
Yeah.
I don't think it's real.
All right. Well, my thing, they led you to believe that Aladdin and Jasmine got married at the end because he's wearing a white thing and she's wearing some formal wear, but it was a way to do a Disney wedding without full on doing the Disney wedding like they just did in, Little Mermaid. So I was always under the impression they got married and living happily ever after. And then, they bust out King of Thieves and we're finally getting married.
Open sesame. My father is alive? Lead Aladdin on his most dangerous journey yet. Show me the way. Follow the trail of the 40 thieves. Your father is trapped within their world.
Oh my gosh. I love that you can quote these movie trailers from the VHS.
Brought to life again by the one and only Robin Williams. It's a kindler, gentler genie. Look at this.
Oh, that's amazing.
This summer, don't miss the adventure. You don't stand a chance against the King of Thieves. So yeah, I can do the whole trailer because I think the trailer is on. Is it on the Toy Story?
Yeah,
the Toy Story VHS previews. That's why I know it so well.
Gotcha.
Okay. Well, find out why Robin Williams wasn't on the second one. Do you guys want to know why?
Ooh, do tell.
Okay. All right, I will. So Robin Williams, when he did Aladdin, he was actually paid at union scale, which is actually the minimum legal pay that a studio can give an actor. But, he did have a couple of provisos, a couple of quid pro quos of his own. The first was that they weren't allowed to use his voice for any of the merchandising. And also that the genie character could not take up more than 25% of the space on a poster, ad, billboard, or trailer.
That makes absolutely no sense.
I know, right? After they've animated this whole thing and they realize, oh, hey, guess who's the main real character, that the funniest character throughout the whole movie is going to be the genie. So they kind of pushed it a little more than, I'm sure, 25%. And because of this, Robin Williams' wishes were not granted. He withdrew his support from Disney and the film. And what's funny is you can actually see in the Art of Aladdin book, it never mentions his name. It only refers to him as the voice of the genie. So it's
goodness.
So he would not let them use anything. And that's why he wasn't in Return of Jafar or, the dream sequence, as Mason likes to call it.
That's right.
And that's why Dan Castellaneta said, woohoo, I get a new job. Michael Eisner wanted to be able to get back on good terms with him because it was such a huge thing. Like, people were freaked. I was freaked. Little 7-year-olds were freaked that Robin Williams was not the voice. And so he apologized to him. And he even offered him an original Pablo Picasso painting as kind of like a
severance gift,
like a peace offering, basically. But, he was not buying that. And so he ended up not coming back to Disney until after the Disney chairman, Jeffrey Katzenberg, resigned. And Katzenberg was replaced by Joe Roth, and Joe Roth went ahead and he ended up giving a public apology and promised to right all these wrongs. I'm assuming by writing a rather large check in the mail. But whatever it was, Robin Williams was like, okay, I'll come back and I'll do the genie again. And so that's why he comes back for Aladdin and the King of Thieves. Disney was really thrilled, but I'm sure Dan Castellaneta said, don't, because they had already recorded a whole bunch of things with him. And they're like, no, we're just going to throw that out.
At least he probably already got paid for doing that work.
Yeah, I'm sure he did. But yeah, that's the story of Return of Jafar. I was pretty frightened.
That is nuts. Now, going into the third act of the film, the action is rising. We're coming close to our climax. Aladdin hits his low point, the quintessential low point in a Disney film. And, it's curtains for him and blah, 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 blah. So here we go. We go into Jafar. He becomes Sultan. And then he gets done with that really quick. He's like, okay, I don't want to be in these Sultan clothes anymore. I want to be the sorcerer,
Yes.
And then that's more of his forte.
Here, this is my question. Do the clothes really make the man? Because really, the only thing that changes whenever the genie makes somebody, gives them a new title, is he just changes their wardrobe. So Aladdin, when he was made a prince, all he did was give him a new hat and, a new pair of pants. And the same thing with Jafar. He just gets the other outfit. Like, what's the deal? Is that all he can do? It's just really good tailoring?
Well, I guess the clothes are a symbol of the, of your status or whatever. But yeah, I mean, Jafar gave those up pretty quickly, didn't he?
True.
When Jafar is like having his way as Sultan and ultimate sorcerer, the fact is that Jasmine is just way more hotter as Jafar's slave girl than whatever. It's just
so true.
She had no need to change back into her blue outfit. I'm just saying. Yeah, the final scenes of the film, facing off against Jafar are really really cool, and I really love the way that Aladdin defeats him, because it's not like Prince Philip throwing his sword into the dragon's stomach. Aladdin's a lot more clever. I think it's cool because, he stops pretending that he's this prince and that he just uses his old street rat smarts, to beat Jafar. And I like that.
I like that too.
And then the film ends, Have you ever watched till the very end of the credits? And the genie is like, hey, you've been a lovely audience.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You still can't get enough of the genie, man.
So they had huge success with merchandising here, and I'm sure I'm not the only one who played part in that. What did everybody have? Because I had the whole Cave of Wonders, and it had like falling rocks and everything. However, it did not come with the Barbies, but I ended up using the Happy Meal toys instead.
Oh, that's funny. I definitely had the Aladdin and Jasmine Barbies along with lots of my friend. The Aladdin's head always fell off, but luckily it was easier to put on than the normal Barbie's heads. It's so funny. You can tell anyone who had that Barbie because Aladdin's cape, you'd always find him in their Barbie clothes or whatever. That was like a classic guy that everyone had.
They used him for everything.
Good. Yeah, it was good. I thoroughly enjoyed my Aladdin memorabilia.
That's awesome. I had the sound effects storybook. On the right, there was a series of buttons with pictures, and you pressed one, and it made a sound effect based on that.
Yeah.
It was like turn the page, press the Agrabah button and turn the page. It's like So I had that. I can't remember any other stuff that we had. I bet you anything that my little sisters had the Aladdin and Jasmine Barbies.
I will take that bet. All right, so we tweeted our listeners. We asked them the question. Robin Williams has a lot of great lines, but what's your favorite Genie quote? So Michelle says, without a doubt, the line that still makes me laugh is, "Stop her! Stop her!" You want me to sing her?
I like that one too.
I love it. Mayday! Mayday!
Mayday! My friend Brandon Rust, he tweeted, in the whole series, I'd go with his Mrs. Doubtfire lines in the third one. But just the first one, him doing Jack Nicholson. That's awesome.
I love it. We had some other ones. Our friend Natasha said, she did the awesome quote, "Oh, Al, I'm getting kind of fond of you, kid, but not that I want to pick out curtains or anything."
I love that quote.
I know. Oh, and then Kelsey Day did this one. "Tonight the part of Al will be played by a dark, tall, and sinister ugly man."
Oh, Shelby Copa said, "Yo, rug man, haven't seen you in a few millennia. Give me some tassel." Yeah.
Oh, I love it. Can't believe it. Being beat by a rug.
Alyssa Roy, "Oi, 10,000 years can give you such a crick in the neck. Hoy, hold on here a second."
The Genie. What's not
Dude,
to love?
you can't quote the guy enough. There's just like countless awesome quotes from this guy.
Every word.
If we really wanted to, we could have just, instead of doing an analysis episode, we could have just had Mason, Morgan, and Chelsea just quote the entire movie for an hour and a half.
Reenacting all of Aladdin.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
Fantastic. So I give it 5 stars. That's my rating.
Okay.
Yeah, me too. I'm stuck between 4.5 and 5 stars. It still has annoying characters. I don't know, but I love it because it's just this like classic, awesome Disney film that everyone remembers. You think favorite Disney films? That's definitely going to be like in the top 3 of everyone's list.
So I was debating between 4.5 and 5 stars, but I will give it 5 stars. I think this movie transcends time, even though it has a lot of kind of pop culture-y references, even though they're pop culture references from like 50 years before this movie was made. So I think that kind of makes it okay for your older audiences. I never got the jokes when I was younger, but I still loved it because he just does such a good job doing those impressions that it doesn't matter if I know who it is or not, it's still funny. I think there's a lot of really strong characters in here, amazing songs. Obviously, it has great replay value for me. For that reason alone, it is my #1 top Disney movie of all time, 5 stars.
Oh my gosh.
Yay! Round of applause. Yay!
Okay, we're not going to do a mailbag. We do not have time.
No, we don't.
We'll close it up.
Thanks for listening to the Rotoscopers, you guys. Make sure to revisit us at our website, www.therotoscopers.com. You also can find us on Twitter, The Rotoscopers, on Tumblr, on Facebook, and Hypable.com.
Also, don't forget, we are sponsored by Audible.com, the internet's leading provider of audiobooks. You can get a free audiobook, our gift to you, absolutely free. You can go to audibletrial.com/the Rotoscopers. You can pick anything out. Hey, this movie was based on the classic tale 1001 Arabian Nights. So if you want to learn, like, hey, what's the story that Aladdin originated from, that'd be a great one to listen to. It's actually really long, so it's perfect to listen when you're on your way to school, when you're on the bus, when you're riding your bike, when you're working out. I use Audible all the time.
Me too.
So, Chelsea does too. And this is a true statement. So for your free audiobook trial, go to audibletrial.com/the Rotoscopers. Also, don't forget, we have a donate button on the website. You can just go, you can donate any amount, $1, $2, $5, $100, and that helps support the podcast as well. So thank you guys so much. We love you. You love us. We love animation. And yes, so last words, everyone?
You can look at us on our individual locations. You can find me at facebook.com/thisischelsea.robson or at Twitter at Chelsea Robson. You can also find Morgan Stradling on Twitter, and Mason at thisanimatedlife.blogspot.com.
So thanks again for listening, everyone. This has been an awesome episode. I was super excited to do it. Until next time,
we are the Rotoscopers.
Thank you for your entertainment. Fresh from the lamp. Thank you.
Buddy.
Hi, buddy. What's up, your dad?
My name is not Buddy. I've never met anyone who could do a good Marge voice.
Well, now I'm definitely not going to do my Marge impression for you.
Come on, people. Work with me.
One night, me and my sister were watching scary movies at our house, and we had our friend Omar over, and he didn't like the movie we watched, so he made us watch Aladdin right afterwards to balance it out.
Sorry, I was laughing. My thing was muted.
I know, me too.
I know. I was like, anyone?
Your line is, "I'm going to free the genie anytime."
I have a line. Chelsea has a line.
Oh, I was on mute. Dang it. I said it and you, anyway. Would the lady like a necklace? A pretty necklace for a pretty lady. Fresh fish. We can help you buy them.
Sugar dates and beans. Sugar dates and pistachios. That is one of the best quotes.